Hello and welcome to Cruise Control. It is Fred Staab and Les Jackson. And Les, we're starting off with a story this week about EV prices. It seems there's a bit of a price war going on. You and I have kind of predicted this, saying they're pricing vehicles way out of the reach of many people. One study says people are avoiding EVs because they're just too darn expensive. And Elon Musk has cut some prices on some of his vehicles as much as $25,000, and it looks like the industry is following suit, including VW, Lexus, and Cadillac.
That is interesting, and we're going to talk a lot about that. And also, we're going to talk some tech, aren't we, Fred? This is something that weighs 85 pounds and puts out 100 horsepower.
It almost looks like an alternator, you know, or maybe an air pump. Doesn't it look like that?
Truly amazing.
Yeah. It's a new kind of engine. They've got some aircraft uses for it, and it could be used as an extender, a range extender for vehicles. So we'll talk about that. And then we're going to talk about Corvette 2024, what you will be able to get on it. It's something that was been missing since the C8 Corvette came out. You and I asked about it, and we were amazed that it wasn't on the car. It's going to be on the 2024 model as a standard item. So we'll talk about that.
And we're going to tell you why you should stop driving your 2003 Ram.
Yeah, it has to do with safety, and
Yep.
it is an issue that we've been talking about for a long time on Cruise Control. And then you're going to review, Toyota's only electric car right now.
That is correct, and it's also affordable.
bzx4,
Not cheap.
Not the best name.
It's a terrible name. It just doesn't mean anything.
No, but I had the RZ, the Lexus version of this, and I liked it. I think it was probably a lot more money. And this is also sold in a continuing series of team-ups with Subaru. It's sold as the Solterra, too, which sounds like a salty cracker.
Yeah. Overall, though, this is what's coming.
Yeah. All right. Well, what's coming is Cruise Control, a full hour of automotive news and information. And if you stick around, there will be a second hour, too. So stay tuned. We will be right back.
This is Cruise Control. Your on-air automotive magazine with co-hosts Fred Staab and Les Jackson. Everything you need to know about new and used cars. Industry news. We'll fix or repair your car on the air. Fasten your seatbelts and let us take the wheel. Now, your ride is about to begin. Because you're on Cruise Control. Cruise Control. Cruise Control.
That's right. You are on Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine. Hello, everyone. It's Fred Staab and Les Jackson, and we are glad you're along for the ride. It's going to be a great hour of information. And Les, what do you got to lead us off?
Well, starting off with Tesla. We never talk about Tesla.
Never. Not on this show.
Never. Anyway, they've cut their prices. We've been alluding to that in previous weeks. And the rest of the EV industry looks like it's kind of going to follow along.
Yeah.
We know for sure VW, Lexus, and Cadillac, and I suspect that's just the start.
Yeah. And the VW CEO says it's a dangerous trend.
Well, they always say that.
So, interesting. And then we're going to tell you about the 2024 Corvette. And there's something that is on this model that you can order. Actually, it comes standard. It's a number of systems that were not on the original release of the C8 Corvette. You and I asked about it, and we never really got an answer. Well, now it's back.
That's right. It's a Continental kit,
Excellent. White walls?
white walls, and lots of antennas. Anyway, we're going to talk tech. The Innengine, which is the name of an engine, new type of engine, weighs 85 pounds, and it puts out over 100 horsepower, and it's about this big.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. It really is. And
It is.
It's been used for aviation. It's been used in a Miata, and it may be used to extend the range of an EV in the future. So we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
So pretty neat stuff.
It's pretty neat stuff for sure.
And then you have an at the wheel review, don't you?
I do. The first all-electric Toyota, it's an SUV, the bzx4, just rolls off your tongue, and
It's snappy.
and I'll tell you what it's like.
Yeah, it's interesting. I had the RZ a while back, which is the Lexus version of it, and liked it. This, I think, will be a bit more affordable. It's also sold as the Solterra by Subaru. And, Toyota's gotten some heat for not having a lot of electric cars in their lineup. Of course, everything they sell is available as a hybrid or a plug-in hybrid, virtually everything. Including big pickups. And I think it's an unfair criticism. I think they're going to blow it wide open with solid-state batteries.
Yeah.
But that's my thought.
I agree. I think, to say they're not serious about electric when they're the world's largest hybrid manufacturer by many times over.
Yeah. Well,
it's kind of silly.
All right. What's not silly, though, is we have to take a break. We'll be right back on Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine. Fred Staab, Les Jackson. Stay tuned.
Cruise Control.
Hey everybody, this is Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine. And before the break, Fred and I told you we would tell you about EV prices being chopped by Tesla, and gee whiz, that means other companies kind of have to do it. It's the way competition works.
Yeah.
And I guess the first is Lexus, or is it Cadillac?
Well, yeah. Let's talk about Lexus a little bit. I had the RZ a while back, and it was their version of it, their high-end version of the vehicle. And it was, pretty expensive. It had one of those roofs where you could, kind of block out the sun, and luxurious. But they've had to cut the price on this. Lexus, they're responding right away with price discounts. The RZ was the high price was one of its drawbacks, but now they are cutting the cost, and they're giving up to $10,000 in lease cash for the RZ this month. This was spotted by Cars Direct, sent a bulletin to the dealers. And so it's, when you figure in the California Clean Air rebate and the rest, you can save about $12,000, which is pretty big, right?
That's significant. $12,000 is money. It's money I would like to have.
But that's not the only company that is cutting prices, right? And it's also Cadillac. Now, Cadillac has their Lyric coming out, but they're already cutting the prices of that in China. Basically, Musk has cut the price on his vehicles around the world and is turning into a volume type of operation, right?
Well, that's right. And in order to compete with him, they're doing what they have to do. They don't like it, but they'll do it.
Yeah.
And Cadillac's dropping the prices roughly 8,000 plus.
Yeah, so we're roughly
It's,
looking at a
it's a lot.
10 almost 10 grand on a lot of these vehicles, and you know, they have to do it. And you and I were talking about this. Would manufacturers like Cadillac get away from doing any volume whatsoever and just sell a few $300,000-$400,000 vehicles? It's, I think, a risky proposition in the
It
world
is, yeah.
of automobilia.
Well, you just can't depend on that style of market.
No.
You know, in the car business, you got to sell a lot of cars.
Right. And if
because
you're
it costs a lot.
making a $300,000 vehicle, there's a limited market. If there's a downturn in the economy, people are going to look to more affordable. Okay, so we continue. We told you about the RZ price cut. And then we can tell you what's going on at Volkswagen. And the group boss rings the alarm about lower prices. Brand Stolter talked about this at the 2023 China Automobile Forum in Shanghai. He said they're going to cut costs, but this is a dangerous trend in doing this.
It always is. But, you know, when you cut costs, you cut profits. Sometimes you cut out profits, which we've seen it in the auto industry before. And then, you know, then you're in kind of big trouble if sales go down. But I don't think that'll happen in this situation because people are buying a lot of vehicles. Electrics are more and more and more popular. So, what would you do?
I wouldn't buy an electric vehicle right now because I think
I wouldn't either. But what would you do if you were selling them?
It's a problem because people, what's happened when you make the car like a cell phone, they want to get rid of it often. Some people get a new cell phone every 6 months. They want the latest one. They don't want the 11. They want the 12, you know.
Right. I know a couple.
And the technology, I mean, they don't want 250-mile range vehicles anymore. They want 400-mile range vehicles.
Mm-hmm.
And then they'll want 600-mile range vehicles. And then they don't want the ones with the lithium-ion batteries. They want solid-state batteries.
That's right.
It's very similar to computers and smartphones, you know?
It is. It is.
I don't know. We'll have to see what happens, how the market shakes out. But we're going to shake out for a break real quick and be back with more Cruise Control. So stay tuned. Fred Staab, Les Jackson. We'll be right back. And welcome back to Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine. Fred Staab and Les Jackson, we are glad you're along for the ride. We posed that question about EV prices. Some executives are pretty upset about it. I don't think, Les, even if they cut 10 grand, they'll be making cars for free. I think there's more meat on the bone there, but...
I think so, but still...
Are people pushing back against that $85,000 or more number? I think yes. I mean, there's one study that says people are avoiding EVs because they're too much money. This was, I believe, reported by Automotive News, but it was a J.D. Power. And they said the main thing that's holding them back on electric cars is the price.
Well, yes, because, you know, the average household income in the United States is $76,000.
Okay.
And when cars are that price and more, where is your supply of buyers?
Well, here's the thing. I had a theory that manufacturers would just decide to sell fewer cars at higher prices the Chinese will come in and build, cars for 15,000, 25,000,
Yep.
and then people will no longer buy the expensive cars, not in volume, and those manufacturers will wither that address that or have to play catch up. And I just think it's a bad road to go down. I for one don't want to buy a $150,000 pickup truck.
No, it's just not in our vocabulary.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and of course, if the Chinese come in and kind of take over the low price market,
Right, the
they're
old prices
right,
for vehicles.
but they'll have the same high quality as the kitchen fan you buy that you have to replace a year later.
Disposable, sort of. Short term.
Yes, very, very disposable. So, yeah, I think the whole industry is really in danger of making some bad decisions.
And of course, batteries are key to it. And then,
Yep.
that's why, as I said before in the open, people are criticizing Toyota. Where's their electric cars? Or though you're going to review their electric car later on in the show, I think playing the waiting game to figure out the technology is not a bad play right now because you don't know what the technology is going to be. And I think it's certainly going to be solid state batteries where you maybe charge it once a month. You don't need as many chargers. And you have 600, 700 miles of range. Literally, people could charge them every couple of months if you're not going on.
That's right. That's right. And Toyota has always taken the long view in its business.
Yeah, that's business.
Which is not the American way.
No, I need to sell something for big money by Tuesday.
I got to get the quarterly numbers right now.
Right. Got to get. Yeah, I work for one company. They said if you're not 12% more in your revenue from last quarter, you should all be fired. So, there you go. Yeah.
Great.
Well, let's talk about something sad news. Reeves Callaway, someone you and I know, he's been on this show.
Yep.
Founder of Callaway Cars, a great Corvette tuner before there was that name tuner. But he developed body kits for cars and turbocharging. He even developed a turbocharger kit for the C8 Corvette. And he works in conjunction with GM, and that the company will go on. But sadly, he passed away. He had fallen at his home, and as a result of that, he died on this Tuesday, July 11th, at 75. Nice guy. I drove with him in some of his prototype cars. We had him on cruise control at Corvettes at Carlisle. Smart guy, interesting guy.
Yep. A very engaged guy. He loved to talk car technology.
Yeah. There was a great story I read where someone had a Lotus, a newer Lotus, and they sent him an email and said, would you ever be interested in working on that? And Reeves called him on a Sunday morning and said, hey, let's talk about your car. And, he said the guy talked to him for like an hour about it. They decided not to do anything with it because it was sort of a development project, and he said it would be open-ended. I don't know how long it would take to develop this. But that's pretty amazing. The head of the company calls you, right, and talks to you for that long.
Absolutely.
So.
And, of course, he's famous for the Sledgehammer Corvette.
Oh, yeah. Sledgehammer Corvette, a lot of aerodynamics. And the company will live on. As I say, they have a great turbocharger kit for the C8 Corvette. It puts out even more horsepower than the Z06. So that's pretty cool. So Reeves Callaway, we'll miss you. Certainly someone we would always talk to at Corvettes at Carlisle. And he's a great driver, too. He was one of the first driving instructions.
Fine driver.
At the Bob Bondurant High Performance School of Driving. So he's one of the first instructors there. So sad story. But let's move on to the Corvette order guide. And one dealer posted this, and we got some great information about what's coming up for 2024. Of course, the E-Ray, which is their hybrid Corvette, which is, a lot of people don't talk about that. I'd rather have that than a Z06, I think.
Actually, I would too. I think it would just be first of all, more pleasant to drive, and secondly, it'd be kind of bulletproof.
And it's all-wheel drive, which is not a bad thing to have in
That's right.
any car for handling. But that's coming. There are a few paint changes, but here's the interesting thing. Remember when the C8 came out and you and I believe we asked Harlan Charles, well, what about, emergency braking? What about some of these safety features that are available on other vehicles? And we were told, no, it doesn't have it. But now it's going to. To me, I would wait for 2024 for this type stuff. Newly standardless, even on the base Stingray, which is really no base Corvette. It will include a following distance indicator, forward collision alert, lane keep assist with lane departure, IntelliBeam high beam lights, automatic emergency braking, and front pedestrian and bicyclist braking.
It's just, you really want to have that.
It's all standard, too.
And it's standard. Yeah, I mean, wait for it.
Yeah, I would wait for it. And I just think I was a little shocked it wasn't in the car originally, but that's all great stuff. On the inside, though, I don't know why you'd want to do this, but I guess, people always like different things. Visible carbon sill plates. That's nice. And now the Stingray Z06 and E-Ray can be fitted with new green seat belts, which, yeah, I don't think so.
Okay.
What's also interesting is there's going to be an upgraded infotainment system. We're going to talk about this in the second hour because I had a Volvo with this in. It's an infotainment system called Google Built-In, and basically you no longer need Android Auto. The Google platform, Google Maps, is your navigation system, and the car, since it has constant contact with the web for updates and such, gets this built in, so you never have to log on or connect.
I like that.
It worked well in the Volvo. GM is switching to it. Some people are saying, oh, it's a big mistake. I don't know. I've used it, and it seems to work really well.
It just seems like a logical way to go.
And let's remember, what are the things that people talk about when they don't like new vehicles? It's infotainment. It's hooking up to Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. It's hard because the phone is a variable. You don't know. Some people can't find their Bluetooth connection. So I think it's a good deal, and GM is moving that way. And if you get the 2024 Corvette, which I would wait for all of that goodness, it will be part of the package. So, hey, we're going to stay tuned. Hopefully you're going to stay tuned. When we come back, we're going to talk tech about an engine that weighs very little and puts out a decent amount of horsepower. It looks like an air pump, doesn't it? Well, engines are.
It really does.
We'll be right back.
Cruise Control.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Well, get your drawing boards out, everyone, because we're going to talk tech and tell you about a new engine.
Yep.
That essentially is the size of a countertop toaster oven.
It is a countertop toaster oven. Oh, no.
As a matter of fact, with an exhaust pipe on it.
Yes.
And it really, it's quite interesting technology. I'm actually equating it to an existing technology that I'll talk about in a minute.
Okay.
But 85 pounds, and it puts out over 100 horsepower.
120. They dropped
That's
it in
a
a Miata, actually. Innengine, it's called, like innovation, Innengine. It's a company, I believe, based in Granada, Spain. And if you look at that, to me, it looks like either an air pump, like a belt-driven air pump that might be on a truck, or maybe an big alternator or electric motor, but it's not an
Right.
electric motor. And how does it work? It's an opposed piston engine, right?
It's if you think about it for a moment, think about the radial compressors that all air conditioners have now,
Oh, yeah.
which are essentially wobble plates
Mm-hmm.
that have a little piston on them, and but they're driven externally, of course. Well, this has taken that basic idea and had it make be an internal combustion. I think it's a brilliant thing. I don't know what its wear characteristics are or its longevity, but it just seems like one of these things. Well, how come we haven't thought about this before?
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. It's like a wobble plate, and
Yeah,
that's sort of like has a follower. The piston has a follower on the end, almost like a roller cam, and that's what's moving the pistons. And
hmm
it's very interesting. It's interesting as a range extender, I think, for vehicles. It's so small and can be mounted so low in the vehicle. Um, they're using it as an aircraft engine too, which is interesting.
pretty small aircraft,
Yeah,
but a
yeah. I
Piper
think they have
Cub.
an upside, but as a range extender, this would be a great. Imagine you have like a 10-gallon tank of fuel, and you have this, and it's just generating power. Or think about it as a generator to generate,
Absolutely.
a power for your home even. I think it's pretty good.
I think I just first of all, I keep thinking, where was this engine when I was, restoring things like MGs?
Oh, wow. Yeah.
When you could put a nice powerful engine in something.
Yeah,
Put it,
replace a 80 horsepower engine with a 120 horsepower engine that weighs
yeah,
less and runs.
that's right. This is I'd love to have one of these to take apart and
Yeah.
and play with it. But
Yeah. I think it's pretty cool. It's cool tech, and I think we'll be hearing more about it. It's so smooth too. They had a video I watched online where they had it running and they had a coin sitting on its edge, and it
yep,
it, it wasn't
that's
falling. It was it was running. So
that is vibrationless because that's tough to do.
yeah. So you wouldn't even know this thing was running in your vehicle. I would love to drive the Miata, which had that in there. How about you?
I'd really enjoy it.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll get a chance.
They call it a one-stroke engine. So,
That's right. The exhaust is scavenged.
yep.
Um, just great. It's like a two-stroke, one-stroke.
A two-stroke,
It's-
one-stroke. Yeah.
yeah.
Innengine, Innengine. Innengine. It's sort of like innovation, and it's based out of Granada, Spain, I believe, is where they're being developed. So, cool stuff. Cool stuff. We just love talking tech, and that's a good one. And let's face it, it's not all just about having a big battery and electric motors. There's going to be
No.
more involved, and this could be just another element to it, right?
This is the era of
Innovation.
really new ideas.
Yeah, yeah. Well, unfortunately, we have to talk about an old idea, and the old idea involves Takata airbags. And
The gift that just keeps giving.
yeah, the company that just said it's okay, we know it's bad, but we're just gonna
hmm
make it anyway. So the 26th death in a Takata airbag inflator happened recently, and FCA, or what is now called Stellantis, has issued a do not drive warning through NHTSA for approximately 29,000 unrepaired 2003 Dodge Ram 1500 pickup trucks. And this accident happened in May 13th with the vehicle, and there was an exploding inflator. They're trying to get people to not drive their vehicles and get them to the dealer. I think really what they should tell the dealer should come to your house and do this work, or do it in your driveway. I think that they should just show up. They say, we're coming on Tuesday. Is the car available? Just have it unlocked. Because the installation of these new things is just a screwdriver and some wrenches, right?
That's it. I mean, you could do it yourself if you understand that you have to disconnect the battery. But
no big deal, yeah. They won't do that, though. They won't give you the parts.
No way. The thing here, though, is you've got to remember that the do not drive warning isn't coming from the engineers and the statistics keepers from the safety agencies. The do not drive is coming from the lawyers.
Yes.
Because there's a tiny likelihood that your Ram, or most anybody else's, is going to do this.
Right.
But because it is possible, they want everybody to stop driving them. Bear in mind that all these airbag deaths around the world, it's only something like 34.
Yeah. But they still can't let it say, hey.
You can't let it, yeah.
But what about my idea of taking the dealers should come out? I also think they should come out in the future with software. If they can't do software updates over the air, they should have mobile techs, because people don't want to come into the dealership.
That's right.
Every time I bring a car into the dealership, it gets damaged. You know, I had a windshield broken in it.
Yeah, or you get stuck with some kind of charge for something.
Oh, I put it up on the lift. It's going to need all new tires and brakes.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm here for the recall.
That's right.
You know.
We can't let this go. You need a new Fratistat.
The Fratistat.
I didn't even know I had a Fratistat.
Well, you need two, one as a spare. So
exactly right.
I mean, why don't they have people that can do this in the driveway? Or come to your place of work and say, hey, I just need you to come down and let me get in your car. I got to get under the hood. I got to get under the glove box. And I have a screwdriver and a couple of sockets, and that's it. And I'll be done in about 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be good?
I think that's going to be the wave of the future. I think it probably is sort of happening piecemeal these days. But, yeah. I think that's the next thing.
Yeah. Well, let's see what happens. But if you do have one of these vehicles, heed the warning. I think it's worthwhile to heed the warning. So
sure.
And not drive it. Let's talk about something completely different. The Rolls-Royce Spectre, by the way, the CEO this week said flipping will not be tolerated. He's not talking about his cars flipping. He's talking about people buying this model and selling it right away. It's another, remember, they did this with the Ford GT. You weren't allowed to sell it for at least 12 months. And, a lot of people are saying, I don't think car makers can tell us not to do that. I don't know what the law is.
If you've signed a contract not to do something, and I'm sure that the manufacturers have had you sign it, that's a specific performance contract. I think the law is on the manufacturer's side.
Interesting, though.
But the people that pay this kind of money are, have lots of lawyers themselves.
Right. I mean, I thought once you buy it, if someone loved their house and they sell it to someone else, and if that person says, you know what, I'm going to knock it down and, just put a tiny house up where that was, they can do it. It might be a dumb move, but it's knock yourself out, But 400. It starts at $425,000 less, the Spectre. So. Hey,
well, I paid more for mine.
Well, we're going to review a vehicle that is all electric from Toyota and doesn't cost $425,000 when we come back on Cruise Control. And welcome back to Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine. Fred Staab and Les Jackson. Time once again, Les, for an At the Wheel, isn't it?
Well, you're right. And I have just tested the Toyota version, the only Toyota full electric vehicle so far.
Yep.
The bzx4x.
It's like an internal code for
it's like the first part of the VIN number. But whatever. I'm not even going to ask them why they named it that, but because you had the Lexus version of this, the RZ, which makes some sense.
Mm-hmm.
So what's the difference? Well, this is not a Lexus. It's a Toyota, and the best description I can give, just impression-wise, I'm not talking about the specifics of driving it or anything, is to me, it's kind of a combination of a Prius Corolla version of an electric crossover SUV.
Okay. It almost looks like the RAV4 in the back a little bit.
Yeah. So it's really kind of a plain Jane version of the Lexus.
Okay.
I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying it's not plush. It's not quiet or as quiet.
Here's the Lexus. That's the one that I had, the
Right,
RZ, which
right.
is the same vehicle but with fancier seats.
Right. I was kind of expecting it to feel like an Avalon, for instance, but it doesn't. It's much more plain, but it still drives great.
Mm-hmm.
It'll last forever. This one is finished in black wind chill pearl.
Okay. It's a nice name.
With a white top.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Dark gray interior. Again, not a particularly expensive, as in plush, luxurious interior, but a typical kind of a Camry, Prius, Corolla interior.
Okay.
It borrows parts from all those. I'm sure, as you know from driving the RZ, that it's strictly front-wheel drive.
Yep.
Single electric motor. This one has a 150 kilowatt motor.
Mm-hmm.
And 201 horsepower. Sounds familiar for you.
Yes.
And it does have the different modes: the snow, eco, regenerative braking, boost drive modes.
Okay.
Which is kind of a nice touch.
Is regenerative braking, is that the one pedal? Can you?
That's the one pedal.
I like driving one pedal.
I do in traffic. I don't like it because I kept leaving it on, and I go down the highway and let off the gas, and the thing is,
Ooh.
I mean, that's not pleasant because it really slows down. This also, I don't know about the RZ, but this only comes with a single 120 volt charging cord for your house.
Yes, that's what I encountered, and then I used a high-speed charger to charge it up.
Yeah, I just routinely go to the high-speed chargers locally.
Yeah.
And it's got the typical Toyota safety equipment, which is kind of everything: pre-collision, pedestrian detection, which is wonderful. I actually a dog ran out in front of it and it stopped.
Oh, wow.
Which
that's good.
I don't mind hitting a politician.
Oh my.
But I don't want to hit a poor little animal.
No.
I don't want to hit anything. Of course, intelligent cruise control, lane assist, automatic high beams.
Like that.
Love it. Road sign assists. shows the road signs.
Yeah, that's
coming
good.
up.
I've come to really like that. Shows the
I
stop
really
sign
do.
or the speed
I
limit.
really do.
Yeah.
Of course, the backup camera and the panoramic view monitor. So it's got all of that stuff. I mean, it is not cheaply equipped.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't mean to even say it's cheap. I'm just saying it's much more basic because the price is designed to not scare people. I'll mention that in a moment. 20-inch wheels.
Okay.
I know you want 22s, but
They almost look like they're found on another Toyota product, those wheels. Not that
I
that's
think,
bad, but
no.
Keeps the cost
Yeah, I
down.
mean, it makes a lot of sense. The Toyota can, use the best of what they've got.
Yeah.
And they do, and they do it well. All the usual Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, 6-speaker sound system. Probably not quite as sophisticated as the system in the Lexus,
Okay.
but very nice. 7-inch display. I think you had a bigger one, wireless charger though, and heated and ventilated front seats, and this had the option of heated rear seats,
Oh, wow.
and also front radiant foot and leg heater.
Oh, I like that. So it's an electric heater, probably.
Yeah, that's a $350. It's called a limited weather package.
Okay. Do you get a heated steering wheel too?
Yes.
Okay.
Which, boy, are we getting soft.
Definitely a first world problem.
But I couldn't be more proud. This also had mud guards behind the wheels.
Dealer installed option. Yeah.
$149,
That's
which is sort of cheap for anything somebody's installed.
mixed bag on mud guards. They don't look great, but they do
No,
protect your paint.
they don't look great, but they do cut down on all that spray that you're getting on the other people. Let me tell you the price, because it's really, I think, affordable. It's $46,700
Okay.
plus the options and the delivery, which is $1,335.
Right.
So $49,728. But of course, you have potentially some state and federal rebates.
Right.
So this isn't bad. I mean,
You could
obviously,
shave 10,000 off of that easily, probably, right?
I think they probably will.
I mean, with the rebates.
With the rebates, I think you could. And when you get down to 39 or 40,000, now you're getting to kind of run-of-the-mill vehicles that people are buying.
Yeah, absolutely.
So great visibility outward, I'm sure you would agree.
Yep.
Comfortable seats, not super plush, but comfortable. Plenty of adjustments. It's lots and lots of outward visibility, which is very important.
Yep.
Not the quietest vehicle when you're driving. I actually measured the decibels, which was 71.
Okay.
Inside, a quiet vehicle would be about 65.
It's not terrible, though, is it?
Oh, no. It's plenty of things that are louder. But still, this is not a Lexus. That's why you're paying the extra money.
Right.
For the Lexus.
I think it looks good in the silver. I definitely like the silver.
Yeah, that's
black,
a nice,
wheel wells.
nice color.
Yeah.
But if it's a little too close to gray.
Yeah. All right. Well, great review, Les. That has a forgettable name, but it's a nice vehicle. It
Yeah.
The bzx4. Hey, time for me to say I'm Fred Staab.
I'm Les Jackson.
We'll see you down the road.
Bye.